Oh, muted? Okay, okay. Hello, hello, hello. How is everyone doing? I was muted. But I'm back. How is everyone doing? It's April Fool's Day, and I got fooled a few times today, and by my mom being one of them. She got me. She got me, and a few people on Instagram also got me. And then pretty much all day today, I just been not knowing what to believe, honestly. I'm like, if someone says something, is it true or is it, a prank? So that's been my day. Has anyone fooled any of their friends? Or I'm always scared about April Fool's Day because, you want to make sure that the joke is, appropriate and you're not stressing someone out for no reason at all. Like what happened to me this morning. My mom was like, someone's banging on the door, like sends me a text. I'm like, what? And then I called her and she was like, April Fools. I was like, oh my God. My mom got me. My mom got me. But wow, so when was I? Oh, right, Friday. Friday, we watched Open Secret together with the members, and it was so heartbreaking. I was, I had to really decompress that night. It was so heartbreaking, and I said, "Oh, okay, like we'll watch half of this, tonight, and we'll watch the other half next week." And I said, "Okay, let's stop it at 7 p.m." And then right at 7 p.m., it was just one of the most heartbreaking pauses I've ever done when it comes to a movie. And so I hope all of the members were able to, take care of themselves that night and yeah, just self-care, recharge because it was a lot. And honestly, that's why I think all of this is so important. All of us coming together and wanting to create change because it does really matter. And this isn't about even, individual people. This is about like actually creating change and momentum. And, I could really see that this is just the beginning. 2017 was really the beginning, and I'm seeing now a new wave of everything since Quiet on Set. And I'm honestly a little bit exhausted. I'm honestly a little bit exhausted. I'm still, yeah, I'm feeling all of the things. I've had to do a little bit of decompression. I've had to get off of, certain social media platforms just to kind of make sure that I'm taking care of myself. And I think it's really important just for everyone out there to make sure that, you're taking care of yourself and, creating boundaries is really important to do because sometimes, we think we have to be super strong and we have to, I don't know, just be strong. And some days, we don't feel that way. And I think that that's really important to note because I don't think we have to be, strong, especially as survivors, every single day. Some days you need to just let yourself feel the feelings. Wait, did I miss any super chats here? Let's see. Robert, Alexa, agree or disagree? Victorious is when Dan got his previous with his innuendos and just stuff he put on. Yeah, I really do think Victorious was when it got really out of control. I really do think that. It was like kind of a slow, it was kind of slow. And then all of a sudden, Victorious, I feel like it went full throttle 100%. Moa, would you take a look at the map I've been working on? Yes, Moa. Is that how you say your name? I hope I'm saying your name right. Moa Rambles? Yes, that map is incredible. I just started kind of looking at it. There's so much there, and that's incredible that you've been creating that. I don't know if anyone else has seen the map in the Reddit, but it is dense. It is super, super dense. Hey, I made like 3 fan fictions, you playing Fortnite with Zoe and Dana. Yeah, I have to. I'm sorry, Gabriel. It's been such a. I try like on the weekends, especially, to just, hang out with the kids, especially. and, you know, do things that are kind of like away from this space so that I can recharge. And so if I'm delayed on anything, you know, I totally apologize. It's been a lot. And I do want to Molly, hi Jaden. Molly, thank you so much. And hi every member, new member, and also everyone that's just here. Thank you so much for, you know, supporting the channel and also supporting the movement. I really appreciate every single person that's here, and just liking this video and sharing it with someone, you know, those are just great ways to support, because I've noticed YouTube in general really tries to bury bury a lot of my lives. And so, you know, liking this video really helps get us into the algorithm. And so I do want to talk about, you know, a few things that I personally really do stand for when it comes to this platform. And I think it's important to address that bullying and harassment of any kind is not okay. It's really not okay because, you know, we're all surviving out here. We're all trying to make it day by day. And I was trying not to say certain words in the first 7 minutes, but I think this is really important to say. As survivors, we have, oh good, we have been through enough. And it's, triggers can happen, and it can really, you know, we could feel the feelings from it, and it hurts. I think hurting people's feelings is not okay. Even when in the moment we might feel in our minds that it's like justified or justifiable, it's never okay. You know, we have to be very wary of also people's mental health and wanting to make sure that we're never contributing to someone, you know, just feeling sad for no reason. You know, I just really want to say, like, yeah, you know, sometimes I go like pretty in when it comes to, you know, like Rich Carell and these people that have written these letters, you know, and it's very serious and those people need to apologize. But going to other people's platforms to just attack them is not okay. It's actually cyberbullying and it's cyber harassment, and that's not part of cycle breaking. That's just definitely not it. You know, we don't want to go onto other people's platforms and try to make them feel like shit. You know, we can have our feelings and our thoughts about things and talk amongst one another in private settings. But when you're going onto other people's platform just to attack them, I don't believe that is acceptable behavior. And I think it really is the opposite of cycle breaking. I don't think there's anything good about wanting someone to feel sad, or wanting someone to feel shame, or wanting someone to feel like they don't matter. And when I stepped into doing all of this, I already knew that as it grew, that, you know, you start to sadly attract people that want to bring it down, honestly. And they just don't want it to really necessarily exist. And that's been kind of the hardest part of this journey, is when you're putting yourself out there and you have to almost accept, obviously, that people are going to, you know, say things that aren't necessarily nice about you. And you have, you know, as a public figure, you already go through that. But in this space, it's really intense because as a survivor, you're being very vulnerable with your trauma, for example, and people can just pick that apart and you know, the list goes on. I mean, we all know, we know what the internet's like, for example. And I was thinking earlier today with my husband, you know, when I grew up, there was no Twitter. There was no Instagram, you know, when I was young. I think Instagram came out when I was over the age of 18. And I grew up like I remember when text messaging began. You know, like I remember sending my first text and being like, this is so wild. And I had a Nokia phone when I was 6 and all you could play was Snake on it, you know. And to see, you know, what the internet has become over the last decade and thinking about it from, you know, I'm a mom, just thinking about it from a parent's perspective, it really terrifies me. It really, really does. Because when I was younger, the bullying happened just by the people that you would see in real life. You know what I mean? Like you would go to, you know, school, or you would be on set for me, or, you know, you're seeing these people in real life or at parties. And now anyone, you know, can bully basically one another and get access to you through a screen. And you don't even know these people. You don't even know them. They don't know you sometimes. And it's very disheartening because I said this a few videos ago. Or actually it was a Dan Schneider apology video, the full length one. We can sit here all day and go point the finger, right? And go, this one's the problem, you know, this person's the problem, that thing's the problem. We can do that all day. But if all of those people that we have a problem with one day disappear, right? And we're stuck with ourselves, are we really being honest with how we are showing up in our communities, in the world? Are we really looking at ourselves? Because I really do think that in order to change the world, no problem. In order to change the world, we have to look in the mirror. And we have to see how we are speaking to one another, how we're engaging with one another, and how our words and our intentions and our impact, how it affects other people. We have to care about how it does. And it's part of cycle breaking. That is part of it. And it's been like a hard couple of weeks. Like it was already very vulnerable to have Quiet on Set come out, you know, and have the whole world talking about, you know, a very traumatic point in my childhood. And now everyone's talking about it and discussing it, you know, online. And, you know, even like YouTube creators, you know, everyone's talking about it. And it can bring up a lot of feelings. And to see also how people are choosing to treat and speak about the victims that were part of Quiet on Set as if, you know, this is not a very vulnerable time and we're moving through it, and to be graceful with one another as we move through processing how our childhood, you know, all of our childhoods have been affected by this. Anyone who watched Nickelodeon, for example, was affected by this one way or another, and it brings up a lot of feelings. It brings up a lot of feelings, and there's been a few experiences that I've been having the last couple of days where it's reminding me of, you know, my time on Zoe 101. You know, it's bringing back those feelings where, you know, I'm trying not to be like a sap, but I think I want to say to people out there that you don't exist for people to like you. You know, you exist so that you can learn to like yourself. And what that means is you're constantly trying to show up in the best way that you can daily, and showing up with as much kindness as you can muster. And yeah, sometimes we don't have good days, right? Some days we're going to be upset about something, and that's part of the human experience. But what matters the most at the end of the day in this digital age, this virtual realm that we all are in, is that you like yourself and that you know yourself best. And I think it's really important because now everyone in the world can have an opinion about you, can say something to you just to hurt your feelings. And I think now more than ever, it's important that we learn how to be kind to ourselves. And I think that's honestly the only way to be kind to others. I think when we're not kind to ourselves, then it's very easy for us to, you know, be kind to others. It's going to make it a lot harder. Crafting Emily. Yesterday was a hard day as an anniversary of the beginning of my journey of being gaslit by doctors and society till I was diagnosed 16 years later. Thank you for bringing survivors of all kinds together. Crafting Emily, so nice to see you here. Yeah, and see, you don't know what hard day someone's having. I think there's like that, you know, that Instagram post, or it was going around for a while, like, I don't know, be kind to people you don't know what they're experiencing or what's happening with them. Something like that, I'm paraphrasing. And obviously, there's times to call, you know, to want people to get better. But I really don't think we can necessarily get people to be better by degrading them. You know what I mean? Like, I think the way that we can call people like in is by figuring out ways to properly communicate with one another how we're feeling. I think if we're just coming from a place of the shame game, or, you know, wanting to put someone down just for the heck of it, you know, that's not going to create any type of change. I actually think it's extremely counterintuitive when we act like that. You know, it just repels what it is that we're actually seeking, I think, what we're actually wanting, which is like, you know, human connection, and we're wanting people to maybe be better or whatever it is. I think it has the opposite effect when we are attacking, you know, one another or trying to degrade one another. I think it just has a horrible, just doesn't work out. And another thing, you know, is I was thinking about like this platform, you know, because at first ePredators was just protesting, you know, every single Thursday in the streets, you know, ePredators came from a protest sign. It was my first protest sign at this concert that an alleged, you know, predator was playing at, and it was called Eat the Rich. And I was like, what is my protest sign going to be? And my protest sign was ePredators. And so that's where, you know, this all came to be. And now it's grown into, you know, this platform for so many different reasons. And as I must say, like, as a female, you know, I've seen people respond to it in such peculiar ways where, you know, men, like, let's think about John Oliver, for example, right? Or who's another one? John Oliver, Jon Stewart, you know, Steve Colbert, like all of these men who have had these daily shows, right? Where they talk about things that they've never even experienced before, right? And they're giving their take on it. And, you know, no one's ever, you know, necessarily criticized them, I think, in the same way that I have been criticized. And I'm like, interesting. Yes, my activism is my activism. And this right here is me, you know, creating a platform for survivors to talk about these things in a safe space. And to look at it from my own personal experience, because I'm a survivor myself, you know, and that was my dream with this platform was because I didn't see it. I didn't have a place to go to, read about, for example, who can I Russell Simmons or, whatever. I didn't have a survivor space to talk about these things. And so I was like, I'm going to do that. I want to create a space where survivors are, centered when these discussions are being had, and that it's coming from a place of personal experience and understanding. And it was really important to me because I, as a public figure survivor, I realized how easy it was for people to only care, about trauma when it was trending. And it was really heartbreaking for me to witness that. And even just for other survivors out there, it had like a 24-hour window, and then it was forgotten. And a lot of survivors ended up feeling extremely just kind of used up, right, by let's say a platform like Hollywood Reporter or something, where it's just a random digital magazine, for example. They just write the article, they make a bunch of ad revenue on it, and it's done. And it's just on the screen. And I wanted to do something different. I wanted to talk about these things as if I was, talking with my friend about it, and to really discuss it from a place where we understand the institutions, how, we understand what ABUSC is and the lifelong effects of that. And so, just was thinking a lot about it. I seen all these men, like have these like, like what's the other one? Like Joe Rogan. It's all these men just like doing their things, right? And I think I've just kind of noticed personally that when it is, someone that isn't a bro, people have a lot to say about what you're doing. And so, that's just kind of what I've been thinking about the last couple days, and like what this platform means to me is it means to have survivor-centric and survivor-led, content creators out there. And I hope there's more and more as the days and years go by, because I think it's really important to support survivors, and especially survivors that are wanting to do the emotional labor to try to explain to potential allies out there that why these issues really do matter. These issues matter. And it's when you're doing this work as a survivor, it's a lot. It's like emotionally a lot, because you're having to relive your own memories, and it's hard to separate those things, and you're navigating it the best way you can. And, I hope I see a lot more survivors showing up in this space and lending their voice to create change. And also to show people like, survivors are human beings. We're not here to like necessarily for you to like us, right? We just want we want society to empower us. That's all. It's not believe me. I'm kind of done with that phase of my personal life. I want to feel empowered, and I want people to feel empowered. Because when people feel empowered, then it becomes something different. It's not about asking people necessarily to believe you, right? It's about feeling that it's possible for you to get justice. And then you start having these thoughts and conversations around what does justice mean? And maybe your perspective of justice is different than the next, person's perspective of justice. And then dialogues start happening. And I feel like from conversations, then change starts to happen. And survivors are silenced all the time. And I want survivors to feel like they can show up and talk and feel safe to do that, and feel supported to do that. And so now, what I've been doing has been kind of split into different parts, where it's the protesting and really being active and physically showing up even in the pouring rain And then sitting down here and making sure that survivors have a place where if they do want to hear about what's currently happening, you know, they can come to a safe space where it is survivor-centric and where it's survivor-led. And we can have these conversations safely, because why not? You know, bros have been talking about shit they don't even know for such a long time. It's time for others to sit down in the seat and start having, you know, conversations and getting in and like having a seat at the table. I believe survivors should have a seat at the table, especially when it comes to the conversation around ABUSC. Especially that. It's time. And I do see how that has backlash, because people are like, a survivor who, you know, is doing this, you know, I see the do, because it's new. It is new. Survivors in general feeling empowered didn't really happen until 2017, let's be honest. And then all of a sudden, all these individuals started being like, me too, and me too. And then that ripple effect, just by saying me too. But before that, so many people were holding these secrets of what happened to them and not feeling empowered, not feeling safe to say it. There was like shame around saying you were a survivor. I don't want there to be shame around saying you are a survivor. You survived. There shouldn't be any shame around that. And that's what I want to see. I really want to see that. You know, and now seeing, for example, even Matthew Underwood, you know, him coming forward about what happened to him. You know, you're seeing the space is being created for people to say it. And all I know is that the longer that I was personally holding it in and not telling someone close to me about what happened to me, it started like physically, like I could feel it in my body, you know? And I will never forget the first time, you know, I said it. I think everyone can remember the first time you said it. It was like, ugh, that happened to me. And I'll never forget the first time someone said, I'm so sorry that happened to you, and what that felt like. It wasn't even about them saying they believed me. It was about someone saying, I'm sorry that happened to you, and you didn't deserve that. And it changed my life to hear that. It really did. That was the first step for me personally on my healing journey, was that. And I just want survivors everywhere to hear that. I'm so sorry. That should have never have happened to you. So that's why I sit down. Because I really do want survivors to be told that. And we don't need anymore to give people this power to believe us, right? We want people to empower us, support us on our journeys towards justice, and say, I'm so sorry that happened to you. You did not deserve it. That's what I want to see. And when I thought about the chants, you know, in the streets, for a long time, it was believe survivors. You know, that was the thing before I started protesting. And, you know, I was like, wait, power to survivors. It has like a different feel. Like, I don't know. It feels different when you say it. Like, believe survivors, you're reliant on someone else. When you say power to survivors, you can do it. Believe feels, someone else, please help me. Power feels like power. And it just feels different. And I love it. I love it because it's awesome. It's awesome to feel empowered. That's what I want people to feel like. There are even victims of false accusations. Who is that, Nathaniel? I'm not sure. Vic, who? Who is that? Sorry, I'm a little bit behind. And also, welcome new members. And another thing that I wanted to say, I do want to address a couple things because, like, why not? I saw that people were saying about, you know, Matthew Underwood and, you know, him not coming forward about Dan Schneider. And from my videos a while back. And that was because Matthew Underwood wrote a letter, you know, to a fan and basically stated that, you know, Dan, you know, wasn't a bad guy and that, you know, he didn't, you know, blah, 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 blah. Then he said in the email that if a journalist ever released a reputable, is that how you say it? Yeah. article with sourcing on an, you know, an actual platform that was a reliable platform, that then he would come forward and support those people. And that was 2 years ago. So 2 years ago was when the Business Insider article came out about Dan Schneider, and you know, those two brave writers, those two brave female writers came forward with their stories, and all these different people came forward with their stories, and you know, Matthew Underwood didn't say anything. So back then it was like disappointing because I was like, wait, he said this in this letter, and then I didn't see him actually do what he said he was going to do in the letter. Now fast forward, I just want everyone to know here, everyone needs to take their own time speaking about the things that are closest to them. And yes, of course, the human in me, sometimes I'm like, I wish someone would say something because, you know, you want support. You know, we all do. And so it's natural. But everyone has the right to their own pace on how they come forward about something that happened to them. Now, I didn't know Matthew Underwood was a survivor until, you know, he released that open letter, you know. But I do want to say here, please don't harass people. Like, I hope that this community isn't like that, because I really don't want to see that. We can have our opinions. We can talk here in the chat, have healthy conversations, go, okay, I didn't like this, and have these conversations. But let's please break the cycle of going over harassing people, bullying them, wanting people to feel like shit. Let's not do that. Even when we, you know, I'm sure some people want to. Some people exist that are so, I don't know. I'm trying to think of like some politician, you know, like whatever. But it's really important for us to make sure that we're being respectful, because we all are human beings. And at the very least, let's show up in ways that are productive, that don't stunt what we're wanting to see in the world. We want to see change. It's going to start with us. We're going to have to do a lot of heavy lifting. I know I do. I know 24/7 for me, you know, you get triggered, there's this, you're constantly having to navigate your internal landscape. I mean, it's wild being a human being. It's wild, but it's really important that we know our limits, and we know when something is okay to feel and when it's not okay to like go and project that onto someone else. It's really important. It's really important. And then, you know, I do want to talk about the, you know, all of the merch, for example, that's on epredators.com. You know, these are like protest signs. Just putting protest signs on t-shirts. And now I want to see people rocking power to survivors. I want to see it. I do. You know, I would rather see that messaging, honestly, than, you know, some other shit I see out there. You know what I mean? I want to see people rocking power to survivors. And I really do want to see that. And a part of the decision making of making, you know, certain things on the website is because I see them as protest signs. That's how I view it. I really think they're protest signs. And so that's how I feel about them. And I've already spoken to, you know, multiple people, for example, from the Quiet on Set doc, and they're going to be getting them, by the way, before I even launched it. And so, you know, this is protest signs. I wanted to see people supporting and being like, Nickelodeon, you're blah. It's the literal protest sign from the Nickelodeon protests, the Slime Time Live. And, you know, this is what these things mean to me. Now everyone's going to have their own. Oh, that's right. It did start as an emote. Wait, don't we have the emote? Wait, do we have the emote? That's right. We still have it. Everyone, yeah, there it is. Yeah, it did start as an emote. I totally forgot that. So, you know, I'm just learning how to navigate all of this because I think so too. It is kind of the best emote. It's a really good emote. I like it too. And you know, this is also, I made these, this is how I stay creative. Yes, this is how I stay leveled, honestly. I made it fun. I like making it fun because otherwise this shit is so, it's depressing, you know? These topics are depressing. Having to go protest and the fact that us survivors are the ones that most of the time are having to do all the emotional labor to change shit, right? And so I made this a creative act. Like I just wanted this to be empowering and inspiring. And it's not about me. It's about what this can do. And that's it. That is that. I mean, there's nothing else exciting here. That's literally it. And I just want that for my kids too. Oh, Vic Mignogna is a former Funimation voice actor. He has been falsely accused by oh wow, okay, I have to look into that. I don't actually know who that is. I'm still a child, I cry. Wait, I'm still I cry. And that's another thing too. You know, I don't know. It's okay to cry. It's okay to feel these feelings, but I do just want to make sure that you remember that what's most important is that you know who you are. And no one can take that away from you. No one. When you know who you are, only you know, right? No one can take that away from you, no matter how hard they try. They won't be able to. And I really hope that we're all trying to show up in the best ways that we can. And that's all we can honestly do. And let's just be nice, kind to one another. I just want to see more of that. I was like, oh my God, like the internet, you go on there, you're like, what is happening? It's like a haunted house. Something's going to jump out at you, like, you know, something's in the corner. This is my description of it. Like, literally, I'm like afraid to scroll, you know, I'm like, what's gonna happen? You know, and I'm like, okay, wait, Alexa, you know what? I gotta remove myself from this because this is not even healthy. This is not even healthy behavior. Like, this is not how we're supposed to engage with one another. And it scares me for my children in the future. I'm like, wow, I'm gonna have some serious conversations around online activity and how to show up there. And it scares me, honestly. It really does. People have access to each other in a way that's could be so productive. Like when it's used properly, it's amazing. And then when it's used like not well, it could be detrimental. Like it is wild. It is wild. So, you know, I just wanted to talk about a few of those things today because I think it's important to. And I'm not here to, you know, I'm not a perfect person. And I do also want to apologize. There was like posts from, you know, 2014 that people were putting on the Reddit and I didn't even know that they were there and I deleted them and they were wrong then and they are wrong now. you know, and I just want to say I'm sorry for that. I'm really, really sorry. And it was not okay. And yeah, so I just wanted to also address that. I'm so sorry. And yeah, I'm really sorry. Oh, what else? What else? Okay, we're gonna get into a few things today. Okay, great. Okay, so we'll get into a few things. We actually don't. I want to say. Oh wait, let's look. Okay, okay. So some great news though. Melissa Joan Hart. Yeah, you can. Melissa Joan Hart said that she supports everyone who did Quiet on Set. I just want to give a shout out to her. It says former Nickelodeon star Melissa Joan Hart is reacting to Investigation, Discovery's bombshell docuseries, Quiet on Set, The Dark Side of Kids TV. Hart, who starred in Clarissa Explains It All at the network for 5 seasons between 1991 and 1994, said on the March 28th episode of Meghan McCain's podcast, Meghan McCain has entered the chat, that while she didn't go through what those in the docuseries allege happened to them, she stands with them. Love that. Also, I think I saw in that podcast too that she was saying that this show filmed in like Orlando. I didn't know that. I didn't even know Nickelodeon had its own, a separate entity in Orlando. I'm sure it probably was very different there than Hollywood, for example. Okay, so the actress shared that she has yet to see the docuseries herself. Look, she didn't even see it. That's the best. Okay, I'm sorry, because you remember other people going like, I just watched it and now I'm sorry about blah, blah, blah. But you're like, wait, she literally hasn't even watched it yet, but was like, I believe them, I stand with them, you know, right away. Right. She's like, I don't even need to see it. And also, you don't even honestly need to see it. I mean, just the title alone, you're like, got it. And whoa, these people are putting themselves on the line, like their careers on the line. You know, you just get it. And I think that and the average person kind of just gets that, which is so nice of her to say that. Okay, let's continue. Quiet on Set, The Dark Side of Kids TV investigates claims ABUSC, this ism, and toxic workplaces at some Nickelodeon shows in its heyday of the 1990s and 2000s. I don't know other people's experiences, and I'm not negating anything anyone else says, Hart said. I've never been told these people's stories that are in the documentary, and I have to say, I've never heard a story from a Nickelodeon star personally. No one's come to me and talked to me about any of these situations. That's not to say that anything about anyone's story, that's not to say that anything about anyone's story. I absolutely trust and believe them 100%. Nice. I just think that was beautiful. I thought that was so well said, and just I loved to hear that. Wait, Lizzo quit. That was so wild too. That Lizzo. I don't know if anyone saw my Instagram story about that, but I was like, that was a bit odd in general. Just saying. I actually haven't even done a episode about Lizzo. Maybe I should one day. I haven't done that yet. Okay, so that was really great to see. And then we got someone else, obviously KENAN Thompson. He also had something to say. So let's first listen to him, and then let's talk about it. Let's digest. Let's say what we think. Wait. No, it's on. Is it not playing?
It's tough for me because
oh, there we go.
I can't
Weird.
really speak.
I know
tough.
this is hard.
It's a tough subject, you know, because it's tough for me because like I can't really speak on things that I never witnessed. You know what I'm saying? Because all these things happened after I left, basically, and Dan wasn't really on Kenan and Kel like that. I mean, he got it created by credit, but you know, there was a different showrunner, so our worlds weren't really like overly, you know, overlapping like that outside of all that necessarily. And then all that negativity kind of started happening.
That was interesting for him to say. Did anyone else think that was kind of interesting that Dan Schneider wasn't even around that much? I was like, whoa, is that true?
Outside of like our tenure there, you know what I mean? So like, I wasn't really aware of a lot of it, but my heart goes out to, you know, anybody that's been victimized or their families, you know what I mean? I mean, like, I think it's a good thing that the doc is out and it's, you know, putting things, you know, on display that need to be, you know, stories that need to be told for this, you know, accountability's sake. But it's definitely tough to watch because I have fond memories of that place, you know, and I have fond memories of, you know, my co-stars and stuff like that. So to hear that they've gone through terrible things like that is just, it's really tough.
We also reached out, of course, to the production company, and they said that, you know, they investigate all of these things.
Wow, he looked like he was honestly gonna cry. I like felt that a little bit. It's interesting to see how, what I think has been intriguing about a lot of this is how each person can have their own experience in the same space, if that makes any sense. Like, and it doesn't mean that that person's experience isn't real because this other person's experience was that. And to start having conversations around that, because I feel like it can be very triggering for certain survivors when they hear, you know, I was there and like I met or I know this person and this person wasn't like that to me. You know, and you're like, oh, and then usually it's used against the survivor. But now we're starting to see people go, okay, I met this person. You know, I didn't have this experience, but I support your experience. Like I stand with you. Just, you know, I think it's really important for us to start having those conversations where it's not because you had this experience, that person, it's not true. Two things can be happening. And it's so important, like I said earlier, is just to look at someone and say, I'm so sorry that happened to you and you didn't deserve it. That's it. You know, and that's, I think I'm hoping that all of these conversations around quiet on set and all the different, you know, Nickelodeon actors, that we're at least starting to see that and allowing ourselves to have different experiences and not negating another person's experience just because yours was different. Really important. Like really, really, really important. I see that with siblings a lot. Like that was the only other place growing up I would, you know, I have some friends who have, you know, have brother or sister and they would go, wow, like I had a whole different experience with mom than you did, you know? And I think it's just very important for us to understand that just because someone else had a different experience than you does not mean that's not true. And that you're valid. What happened to you is still valid. Very important. Very, very important. Well, it seems like though Angelique BATES did not really have didn't feel good about what KENAN Thompson said. She tweeted, "What about what you did witness? Remember me?" You're like, okay, what does that mean? And, you know, I didn't actually know much about Angelique BATES, but I would hear about her here and there when I started, you know, coming forward about Dan Schneider and about Nickelodeon. She's like honestly the first person, pretty positive. She was the first person to speak out against the network and about the producers. And I mean, she's honestly like a badass. And no one listened to her. I mean, I'm still not even seeing, and I'm actually kind of curious why she's not in the doc. Has anyone seen anything? Wait, let's show where she is. Has anyone seen her mention quiet on set or why? Wait, was she? Wait, no. I think Josh River and Alex Ryan were the ones. What is it saying? DJ Sal's Kel had it. Stupid ads. Did someone get ads? But she was one of the first. Yeah, so brave. Power to her. And no one listened to her. I find that so weird, you know? And honestly, though, when I was sitting on a rock, you know, in 2019 with my husband live on Instagram, it's not like anyone was talking about that, you know? You have to have all this sourcing and this and that for, you know, honestly, these publications to really do anything or to mention it. But still, when you have a chance, is that protest still on for this week? I might have to be in LA. Yeah, it's tentative right now. I'm still organizing it. I'll know by tomorrow all the details for it, Brett. Thank you so much for being here. Yeah, but she's just such. Let's actually watch. I think this was one of her first. Let's see. Let's watch this video. This was, I think, when she first came forward, but I'm not sure. Let's just watch it. Let's watch it.
From 1992 to 1996, I was a series regular on Nickelodeon's All That. I was only 12 years old, and that's when my nightmare began. I was physically, mentally, emotionally in front of the producers and cast members, and sometimes they could even hear me yelling. But nothing was done to help me until approximately 1996 when CPS was called. And when CPS came, I was pressured by all the adults that were set to protect me to stay silent. I did, and I have. But I can no longer stay silent, and I won't. My name is Angelique Bates, and I am an adult survivor of child abuse, and this is my story.
Wow. I mean, it's pretty wild that this wasn't anywhere, right? Anywhere? And so basically what she's saying here is that I think maybe her and I have similar experiences when it comes to, I think, bullying on set. And, not to give like a throwback to Zoe 101 days, but I have to, that was kind of my experience, is instead of the conversation going, I didn't have that experience that you did, but it doesn't mean that that experience didn't happen to you. A lot of the cast members from Zoe 101 when I was younger, it was the opposite of that. It was them calling me crazy and this and that I was making things up and, a whole bunch of things. And it was really painful. And so if she's saying that he did witness a toxic work environment in any way when it came to her, she's feeling like, oh, why aren't you acknowledging, though, what I remember you seeing for yourself? So I feel for her if that is how she feels and he did witness some things and he's not stating that could feel, I get how she's feeling. Hi, Allison. Welcome to the Munchies. Like, I feel for her. I really, really do. I wanted to, hold on. Don't show my screen, but I want us to also watch this other thing. Let's just wait a second for it to download. Because I had Miko censor it. Well, let's see. Let me close this out. But she also did another video that I think is really important for all of us to listen to what she has to say, because I found it to be super heartbreaking. And I think it's really important for us to listen to her words. And I feel like it hasn't been boosted enough. So let's listen to this together. And obviously, remember, trigger warning. Okay. Make it smaller. Okay, great. Okay, I can bring it down here. Whoop. Okay, let's watch this.
Hi, my name is Angelique Bates. When I was a child star, dealing with aspects of the child, it pretty much affected the workplace, which later affected my adulthood because I was blackballed. My dark moment, it lasted for about 10 years. When I was pretty much released from my contract, I was 15. I want to say probably downhill from that point. One thing about the industry is when you're on, everyone loves you. But the minute that you're not on, everyone forgets you. And when you're a kid, it's really hard. When I got the show, it was just like I had all these play siblings or whatever. It's like, okay, I have friends, fans love us. The show was #1. It's just like all this love that I wasn't getting. So to have that taken away from you and not be able to do anything and not be able to make a living, it's hard.
I just want to say really quickly here, this is very brave to be this vulnerable Like that, I feel for her deeply. I think we all can. I think we all can. This is why this is really important to listen to her. Whew, okay.
The industry is very judgmental. So I went through phases where I was told I wasn't light enough or I wasn't skinny enough. So I got to points where I went on diets. I tried to bleach my skin. I was constantly trying to change my image because I was like, well, maybe if I just change this, maybe I just change this, maybe they'll accept me again. And I would go into auditions. The casting directors knew me. They loved me. Oh, we got our children. They watch you. But I would never get the job. I was told for years, oh, you should be great for this. You should do this. You should do that. Wasn't getting it. Sometimes if I did get hired, I had fans coming in that were just like, oh, what are you doing here? So it got to the point where I couldn't even do a 9 to 5. But then I couldn't work in the industry either because I was blackballed. I ended up getting and adding that on to everything. I just shut down even more. I got to the point where I wouldn't dress up. I would try to do things to look non-pretty, to maybe I wouldn't get attention. But then ended up in a DV situation, domestic, for some that don't know what DV means. It was just one thing coming from different angles. And it just got to the point where I just couldn't handle it. I decided one day I was going to swallow a whole bottle. And actually my best friend saved me. I was so done. Because it seemed like no matter what I did, I just couldn't fly. And it's just like the industry, when that's all that you know. It's like you're constantly getting kicked. My best friend saving my life, I realized that maybe I was still supposed to be here. And it just got to the point where I had fans and people reaching out to me, and I started talking more about it, and I realized I really wasn't the only one. I always kept it to myself because it was taboo in the industry, you know. They were creating these stories about me, and I just wasn't saying anything, and I was just taking hits. But when I started speaking my truth, which people didn't know, and some did know the truth, they started coming out and defending me. Ended up being a parent and having my 2 kids. You know, children, they always see the good no matter what. They don't care what's going on. And to my 2 kids, I'm amazing, always. I'm beautiful. I'm perfect to them. Like, they love me no matter what. And that's really all that matters. And it's just for my kids, that's what I live for, just to make sure that they're okay and they don't have to go through any of the things that I had to go through, and that pretty much they have a great future. That's my goal, and that's where my light is.
So unbelievable. I love that the show is called Inner Warrior. Boy, does she have an inner warrior. My God, that was, geez. How is everyone feeling? I'm about to cry at the gym. Yeah, no, that was, her story really has been, you know, buried. And, you know, that's another thing too. I feel like also, you know, like, remember with the whole Britney Spears, when the Free Britney movement was beginning and people were like, why do we need to care about, you know, a celebrity and, you know, that whole thing. And then we realized that this runs so much deeper than obviously just Britney Spears. Like, you know, ABUSIVE conservatorships are very real, and so many people's lives are affected by them. And I didn't even know they existed until the Free Britney movement. You know, I didn't even know what a conservatorship was until, you know, Free Britney. And I remember the documentary, and then, you know, the whole thing. And I think a lot of shame also for certain people that are also public figures, like her talking about the industry, is you feel like no one's gonna care, you know, because, oh, wow, your problems are what, when you were on like a kid show, like living your best life, and, you know, the whole thing. And I think that also creates a lot of shame. And you feel like, oh, maybe my feelings don't necessarily matter because of the privileges that are involved in this when it comes to the space I was in. You know, but I think it's really important at the end of the day, you know, every human being matters. If their trauma, you know, their story matters. What happened to them matters. And anytime we're trying to make up excuses to ignore people's pain and reality and story, you know, where are we? Where have we abandoned ourselves? Because I think it usually means that somewhere along the way, we abandon ourselves. There's something about us that we don't feel like what our pain or even our happiness, honestly, is enough or worthy of being seen. I think we all have that in us. And it's so important for or whenever I watch something like that, when I see a survivor, you know, telling her story and then her saying that once she was able to say it, that people started supporting her and what that feels like. That's what I want to see. That's what I really want to see, is all of the energy that I think we can waste, honestly, on trying to tear one another down. If we put that towards changing the world or caring about the things that we want to see in the world, we could do it. If we have that many hours, you know, or minutes in our day to do the other stuff, I think if we put that energy towards the good spaces, I see it. Do you? I see it. I hope everyone else sees it. And this is what it's about. You know, support all survivors. No one needs any more pain, right? No one needs any, I think we all, you know, have enough of that. And how can we show up and make sure that someone like, you know, Angelique does, let's make sure these things don't happen again. Let's not bully. Let's not have people turn into adults and still are crying about that. That broke my heart. That affected her. And I think us shying away from the things that affect us is not going to help either. You know, it's okay to say that hurt my feelings. And then the person goes, I'm so sorry, you didn't deserve that. Right? That process. I just think that could really do something if we can start collectively learning how to do that. If we could really see when someone's feelings are hurt, that we don't want to perpetuate that. And I wanted to, it's interesting that the video, I didn't know I was going to be talking about this, to be quite honest with you, like this, but after reading her Twitter, and actually let's show it right here. Where was this? So I guess there's a sketch here where she says the sketch was both of ours. And so let's watch it. It's a little clip from all that.
You'll find out. What's up, Wally? Hey, what's up, y'all? Chilling, right? Oh, so you must be the new girl. So tell me about yourself. Man,
See what we mean?
what is so funny? Is there something funny? Here we go. Hey, do I smell french fries? Stop it, Wally, stop it. Please, can we enjoy our beverages here? Okay,
So I don't
I'm
know
sorry.
if you can see there, but it seems like maybe some milk got on her, and maybe she was, what I'm guessing she's saying here is that she was experiencing some bullying, and he was aware, I guess, of the bullying that was happening on set. And she says here, I've been speaking out since 2009, and one out of many incidents where milk was thrown at me and spit in my face surrounding this sketch that's being mentioned online. A lot of my supporters have brought up the sketch, as you will see in this thread. This is a clip of the video. So, and that's just a clip. So I'm guessing that this was happening regularly. And we all know what that feels like. Kids who had just, you know, high school, middle school, elementary school, kids who are on set. Bullying happens everywhere. Hi, Tatiana. Welcome to the Munchies. Bullying happens everywhere. And it's actually a very serious issue. There was this this person that used to come to protests a lot. His name was Justin. And I actually still haven't seen it. But he gave me a DVD of a film, I guess it was called Bullying, where I guess it talks about the impact of what bullying has done to kids' lives, and sadly how many children have unalived themselves over bullying, and how serious, you know, this issue is. And I think it's really easy. What I noticed when I was being bullied when I was younger is that the other kids that weren't bullying me, their response was, you're being sensitive. And so there was like kind of nowhere to go. And I think that was kind of the mixture. It was like, I don't know if anyone obviously has experienced the same thing, but I was like getting bullied, and then the people around, it's like, you're too sensitive. And I think we need to change that. You know, I think it's okay to be sensitive. I think it's okay to have your like when your feelings are hurt, it's okay to express that. We all need to feel safe to express that. And, you know, that's what I just remember in my childhood was the mixture of, it was like gaslighting, honestly, because then I'd be like, oh, am I not supposed to cry? You know, am I not supposed to, am I not supposed to feel these things? Am I being weird? You know? And then I realized, no, I wanted kindness, and I was showing up in a kind way, and I wanted to have that returned, or at the very least, I wanted to be respected. And now we're older, and I'm older. I'm turning 32 in a couple of days. And it's sad to see, even in adult years, we're bullying one another. You know, I thought bullying was like a kid thing, you know, like from the past, like in high school or middle school. And, you know, now you hop on certain platforms and we're seeing adults doing that still to one another. I'm so against bullying. I really think it's an issue that people really need to take seriously, because it really does affect people's mental health, and it's serious and it has an effect on people. My son is sensitive, but what I mean is people are horrid, especially preteens and teens. Yeah, and I think we're also learning, you know, this is the world we're living in, is the cycle of just the system alone, by the way. The system alone makes us feel like we're not even valid or we're worthy enough. We have to, what is it called? Oh my God, my brain's starting to melt before I end this video, but like a living wage, you know, make a living. We're told pretty much from like day one, like we have to like do something to like exist, for people to like let us exist. You know, so from day one, we already feel that our existence alone is not enough. You know, there's so many things that I'm seeing it, even, you know, raising a kid now, and what she's probably witnessing, and how, you know, in truth too, like how they're processing, you know, the world and what it means to exist. And I honestly think we don't do enough to make sure that people feel like their existence is enough. And, you know, a lot of people do, you know, come from families, you know, homes that aren't necessarily sometimes the safest. So much going on. And that's why, you know, it's really important for us that we don't give in to the cycle when it's happening. When someone is recycling, it is very important, as much as we can, to not engage in that, because that's it. Like, part of cycle breaking is like not even engaging in that, because that's what creates the momentum. And then we feel like shit, honestly, afterwards. But it's really important to not really engage in mistreating one another. The Saturday Morning Skeptic, welcome to Chef's Kiss. It's so nice to see everyone here. So, you know, I just want to make sure that everyone knows that even when we're talking about certain people, right? Let's say we're talking about, even when we're talking about Dan Schneider, don't go over to people's platforms, please, and, you know, harass them. Or I want to make that very clear, that even when this is a safe space for us to discuss these things and have really healthy conversations, but let's make sure that no one's going over anywhere and, you know, trying to disrupt someone's like existence, right? And I just want to really make that clear. I really want to make that clear. Becca, if you ever wonder what did do, just Google their name and allegations. You will find it all. Oh, wow. Wait, who is this? I feel like I'm missing out on certain things in the chat. Did I miss out on any super chats? Hopefully not. I sent the stuff about Vic. Oh, to the email. Thank you so much, Lilo the Stitch. Actually, my daughter was watching that movie the other night for the first time. What else? So, it's Monday. Tomorrow, I'm doing a podcast with someone, but I'm not going to announce who it is and just let the announcement, happen on, I guess it's going to be on her own. It's going to be releasing on my birthday. I also found out that on Wednesday, I am going on Access Hollywood. They have a special where they kind of have, child stars come on and tell their stories. And they've been doing this for a little while and being part of creating change. And so I'll be doing that on Wednesday. And then, what is it, my birthday on Thursday? And then I'll be in here on my birthday for my birthday stream with you guys, because I think it'll be nice to be here for a few hours. And I don't know, we can do anything. Let's email and give some suggestions of things that we can do. Maybe we can surf the internet. Hopefully it can be something that's, I don't know, obviously not heavy topics. Like, let's just, I think we deserve some joy. I really do think joy is resistance. And it's motivating too. I'm in the film industry in New York. How can I help you all? I want to help. Hi, Amanda. Thank you so much. Amanda, can you email us at epredators@gmail.com? We would love to hear from you. Happy birthday Thursday. Okay, well, you guys are amazing. And, thank you so much for being here. Thank you for supporting everything. Thank you for being kind to one another. It's really nice to see. And I will see you, maybe I'll be seeing you tomorrow. I'll see if I can squeeze it in. But if not, I'll see you all on Wednesday. Oh, yes. And thank you, Patreon members. At the end of this video, we're going to be putting the Patreon members' names. A shout out to them. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And so everyone, please take a moment to look at all those names, because this is 100% community built and you all are so amazing. Let's applaud all the people that have been helping and building this. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. All right, I'll see you on Wednesday.